You spent your entire life believing that talent would be your ticket to the top. You studied, you prepared, you developed skills that few possess. And yet, you watch less qualified people occupy positions you deserved. The truth no one had the courage to tell you is brutal. Power never cared about your capability. It has always sought something else. There's an illusion sold to us since childhood, repeated in schools, universities, and corporate environments as if it were a natural law of the universe. The illusion that merit is the inevitable path to success. We grow up hearing that if we work hard enough, if we're good enough, if we stand out enough, doors will naturally open. But look around you. How many truly brilliant people do you know who remain in the shadows? How many misunderstood geniuses work in jobs that don't honor their potential? And how many mediocre individuals occupy seats of power that seem far too big for them? This is no coincidence. This is a pattern that crosses civilizations, eras, and political systems. Machiavelli understood this over 500 years ago when he wrote The Prince. He observed that rulers didn't surround themselves with the wisest or the most virtuous, but with those who best served their purposes. The ideal advisor wasn't the most intelligent in the court, but the one whose intelligence was completely aligned with the prince's interests. Useful loyalty always surpassed inconvenient competence. Greek philosophers already debated this dynamic. Plato dreamed of a republic governed by philosopher kings, where wisdom would be the supreme criterion for leadership. But his own student, Aristotle, was more pragmatic. He understood that politics doesn't operate in the realm of ideals, but in the territory of interests. And interests are satisfied by those who prove useful, not necessarily by those who prove capable. Think of it as a system of gears. A machine doesn't need the most sophisticated or expensive gear. It needs the gear that fits perfectly into the existing mechanism. You might be a piece of pure gold, crafted by master artisans, but if you don't fit the machine, you'll be discarded in favor of a common iron piece that fulfills its function without question. But what does it actually mean to be useful to power? This question opens abysses that few have the courage to explore. Being useful to power means, first and foremost, not representing a threat. Power is paranoid by nature. It fears those who could replace it, question it, or surpass it. An extremely capable person triggers instinctive distrust. Their skills are seen not as resources, but as potential weapons. Power prefers someone competent enough to execute tasks, but not brilliant enough to outshine whoever's in command. Second, being useful means being predictable. Power despises surprises. It seeks people whose reactions can be anticipated, whose limits are known, whose ambitions are controllable. An unpredictable genius is a constant risk. A mediocre and reliable person is a safe investment. And third, being useful means validating the decisions of those who hold power. No one at the top wants to hear they're wrong. No one wants advisors who point out flaws or propose radically different paths. What's sought are mirrors that reflect greatness, voices that confirm choices already made, minds that justify actions already taken. The ability to say what the powerful want to hear is worth more than the ability to tell the truth. If this idea has already resonated with you, if you've felt firsthand the frustration of being ignored despite your qualifications, imagine what comes next. Subscribe so you don't miss this journey. Now, let's go deeper. Let's talk about you, about that promotion that never came, about that project handed to someone less prepared, about those meetings where your ideas were ignored, only to be presented by someone else weeks later and receive applause. You probably asked yourself, what was wrong with you? You reviewed your performance, questioned your skills, maybe even doubted your own worth. But what if the problem was never you? What if the system simply wasn't built to recognize what you offer? There's a silent pain that accompanies the truly capable. It's the pain of seeing clearly what needs to be done and being prevented from doing it. It's the pain of offering solutions that are rejected for being too good, for exposing the mediocrity of existing processes, for threatening the comfort of those who benefit from the status quo. It's the pain of realizing that your excellence isn't an asset, but an obstacle. I know this pain. I've seen brilliant engineers passed over by managers who barely understood the projects. I've seen extraordinary teachers suffocated by bureaucracies that rewarded obedience over innovation. I've seen revolutionary artists ignored while mediocre imitators occupied the spotlight. The pattern repeats across all fields, all cultures, all eras. But here's the crucial point. Recognizing this pattern is not the same as surrendering to it. Understanding the rules of the game doesn't mean accepting defeat. On the contrary, it's the first step toward transcending it. There's a path that doesn't require you to abandon your capability or lower yourself to pure, servile usefulness. There's a third way, a form of navigation that the ancient Stoics called practical wisdom. It's the art of being useful on your own terms, of offering power exactly what it seeks, but in a way that preserves your integrity and expands your influence. The first step of this transformation is abandoning resentment. Resentment is a poison you drink, hoping the other person dies. Being bitter about the system's injustice doesn't change the system. It only consumes your energy and distorts your perception. The Stoics taught us to accept what cannot be changed and concentrate all strength on what's within our control. You cannot change the nature of power, but you can change how you relate to it. The second step is learning the language of power. Every court has its codes, its rituals, its forms of communication. Observing these patterns isn't corruption, it's literacy. A diplomat who speaks only their own language is useless in international negotiations. Similarly, someone who insists on communicating only through technical competence will remain misunderstood in the corridors where decisions are made. The third step is cultivating strategic alliances. No one rises alone. Power is a relational phenomenon. It flows through networks, connections, loyalties. Identifying who the real decision-makers are, building genuine bridges with these people, offering value in ways they recognize as useful, none of this is manipulation. It's applied social intelligence. The fourth step is protecting your essential core. There's a fundamental difference between adapting your external presentation and compromising your internal values. You can learn to speak the language of power without losing your authentic voice. You can become useful without becoming servile. The key lies in knowing where to draw the line, in maintaining an inner sanctuary that remains untouched by external demands. But there's an even deeper secret that few know, something that transcends all these strategies and tactics. True power isn't in occupying positions. It's in becoming indispensable in a way no one can replicate. There's a difference between being useful and being irreplaceable. The useful can be discarded when their purpose is exhausted. The irreplaceable creates their own gravity. How do you become irreplaceable? Not by competing within existing rules, but by creating value so unique that the rules must adapt to you. Steve Jobs didn't compete to be the best employee at a tech company. He created an entirely new category. Coco Chanel didn't try to be the most useful seamstress for the powerful of her era. She redefined what elegance meant. Nikola Tesla didn't seek approval within established systems. He imagined a world that didn't yet exist. These examples might seem distant, almost mythological figures, but the principle applies at all scales. The teacher who develops a unique teaching method creates their own value. The professional who combines skills in unexpected ways becomes difficult to categorize and therefore difficult to replace. The artist who finds their authentic voice speaks to an audience no one else reaches. The final revelation is this: you don't have to choose between being capable and being useful. You need to transcend this dichotomy, to be so authentically capable that your usefulness emerges naturally, not as subservience, but as gravitational force. Power seeks the useful because the useful is safe, predictable, controllable, But power also recognizes, albeit reluctantly, that which it cannot control. Before the truly extraordinary, power bows, not out of generosity, but out of necessity. Your mission, then, is not to become more useful on the terms power establishes. It's to become so genuinely capable, so irreducibly unique, that power must redefine its terms to include you. This demands courage. It demands patience. It demands faith in yourself when the world seems not to validate your worth. It demands continuing to develop your capabilities, even when no one is watching. It demands building something real, while others build only appearances. But it's the only path that leads not just to success, but to integrity. The only path where you don't have to sacrifice who you are to conquer what you desire. The lesson power doesn't want you to learn is simple. You don't need it as much as it wants you to believe. Your value isn't determined by who recognizes it. Your capability doesn't diminish by being ignored. Your light doesn't go out for lack of applause. Power passes, positions change hands, systems transform. But what you build within yourself, the skills you cultivate, the wisdom you accumulate, the integrity you preserve, that remains. That's yours. That no one can take away. So, the next time you feel passed over for being too capable, remember, the problem isn't you. The problem is a system built for safe mediocrity, and your refusal to conform to that system isn't a flaw. It's a declaration of sovereignty over your own life. If this video touched something inside you, if these words found echo in experiences you've lived, leave your like. Comment below which phrase resonated most. Subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of transformative reflections. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message today, someone who's struggling to understand why their talent isn't being recognized, share this video. Sometimes a single idea at the right moment can change the entire course of a life. Until the next video.